don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello there. All right, I just watched the movie. Is it called Mili or M Mili? Because of the last song, it said Emily, so I'm just assuming that it's actually Emily because it's M Illy. Correct me on the name. All right, I know in the trailer I was a little skeptical because it seemed a little more ridiculous. I had an uncle in, I guess it was the 70s, who got locked in a freezer, and I mean it's I guess it's a fun story to tell, but for me it seemed a little unrealistic because immediately when you know you're locked in, survivalist instincts will kick in. You'll scavenge for what you can utilize. It seemed like as the movie continued, she kept stumbling across other things, which honestly, you go through everything immediately, you build a shelter, and then you try to break the AC unit. Because you need to make sure you have a base of operations first. I mean, that's how I would think. But then again, in that kind of situation, you panic. And unless you're trained to think that way, you will just go to panic mode, try and escape mode, and everything else will be forgotten. So I guess if you think about it in that sense, it works. But I was afraid that the back and forth would kind of make it seem more ridiculous, but it didn't. Seeing the families aspect and them trying to hunt people down, figure out where she is. The officer who was, well, enjoyed his power position and almost risked her dying because he was enjoying people basically begging him to assist, and he could tell his men not to help out or wait an hour to do it, and every minute counts because literally they found her. Basically everyone found out the information at the same time, and he would have held on to that information and not told at least the officers, even though the other groups already had it. So it was an interesting movie. I did find it was well paced. I'll say that. It was amazingly well paced because I wasn't really bored throughout. It was like, okay, because as she was struggling, you could feel the tension, like her body sticking to a frozen floor. Honestly, the star of the show was Mouse. That was the most amazing character, and I actually felt hurt when Mouse didn't make it. But by far, Mouse was by far the sweetest character, the most kind-hearted, tried to give warmth, was just giving comfort to Emily, Millie, whatever her name is, just giving comfort to her. And the fact that he died in her place is just it makes you feel. She died, who cares? But Mouse was just the star of the show, the star of the movie right there. I mean, he only had a few scenes, but the scenes he were in were just perfect. Well done. I gotta say, the start of the whole thing, I know they were doing it to kind of symbolize what happens to like in a freezer. You follow this CGI'd ant, and oh my gosh, immediately I was like, why didn't they just get a single ant to climb up that little bamboo shoot? And it climbs on the bamboo shoot, crawls along the wall, goes down the wall, crawls along the floor, goes up a row of books. And I was just like, oh my gosh. There are scenes where it had a shadow and then scenes where it didn't. The scenes where it didn't have a shadow, my mind was going like crazy. It hurt to watch because the animation was skittish, and you can notice when things aren't, that shadow helps out a lot. Even if it's fake, the shadow that's cast helps your eyes perceive it in like, it made it like it was a 2D object. Even 2D has shadows, so it was just like it just felt weird to me. It absolutely felt weird. And for me, when it comes to a visual aesthetic, the smallest thing I've realized as I get older can make give me a headache, can make me feel not uncomfortable, but just my head feels off. I feel dizzy seeing things like that. So that bothered me. But then it goes all the way for the freezer to be opened. The ant slips off the fridge, falls into the freezer, into a tray of ice that's going to be made, and then it's frozen with its little hands sticking up in the air. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, you know what this movie's about. But I already knew what it was going to be about. I saw the trailer. So I didn't really need that opening. It just made me feel dizzy. There served no purpose except to Well, you follow a CGI'd ant. Give the CGI artist some time. Give them something to do. But yeah, I will say that it was well paced. So I wasn't exhausted. It didn't bore me for the first hour. It actually kept a decent pace. Of course, the boyfriend was accused. I kind of wish it was a kidnapping. Honestly, that would make, because the fact that there is no safety lock, and I know that brought that up at the end where there was no way to get out with they brought it up with the manager. There could have been a life lost there, and that manager should lose his job. Honestly, I work in that kind of situation, and well, not really. I used to work in food, but you make sure as management that everyone has left the building. If you are there closing, you have to make sure, or if there's someone working nights, you let the ones working nights who is left over, because there has to be accountability with what's going on, to keep an eye to, especially where I work, it needs to be safe. A lot of things can go badly wrong if something just happens by accident. So gotta hold accountability. Make sure everyone knows what's going on, who's still there, who has left. You have to see it happen. Oh my gosh, yeah. So the fact that the manager just looked at the clock out book and was like, okay, everyone's gone and left. No, that's not how it works. You have to physically witness it or walk the building to make sure everyone's gone. If they're hiding of their own accountability, then if they get hurt, that's on them. But if you actively walk the building looking for someone, that's a different story. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. Talk to you next time. Toodles.